Hello, in this video we will be looking at Dhammapada, chapter 10, Nandavaggo, verse 8, verse 136 in the consecutive numbering. Atta papani kammani karam balo nabujjati sehi kammehi dummedho aggidadho vatapati. Read it again with the text up. Oops, here we are. Attapapani kammani karam balo nabujjati sehi kammehi dummedho aggidadho vatapati. Atta, the basic meaning of atta just means here. But it also has the meaning of, in this respect, while we're on this point. And sometimes it begins a line without really having very much meaning. It's like something that calls attention to what you're saying. It could be used as a follow-on particle from the previous lines. We could just translate it as here. So here, or in this respect, papani kammani karam. Karam here is the present participle of the verb karoti. So karang is just the masculine singular nominative present participle in just doing. So the balo, the subject of the sentence is balo, meaning the fool, the unwise person. Balo, karang, doing or while doing, papani kammani, evil deeds, nabujjati, does not realize. Doesn't realize what he doesn't realize is stated in the second line. Sehi kammehi, by his own deeds. So the adjective sa, it means self or one's own. Also we see it as a swa as well, swabhava, one's self, nature, or sabhava. It's used here, it's the instrumental plural, sehi kammehi, by one's own or by his own deeds. Instrumental plural, sehi kammehi dummedho, the person of a low intelligence, tapati, burns or suffers, aggidadhova, like one scorched or burnt by fire. So papani kammani karam, while doing, in the course of doing, just doing evil deeds, balo nabujjati, the fool does not realize. Let me call up the iPad again. Bujjati, it's from the root bud. It is, in Sanskrit, a class 4 Atmanepada verb. The important thing to remember about the class 4 verbs is that they add a ya before the verb ending. So in Sanskrit, it's buddhya, and it's an Atmanepada, so buddhyate. And whereas we know the Buddha meaning is the past participle from that root, Buddha, it becomes Buddha, means enlightened in the sense that we understand it. The root is just an ordinary root, meaning primarily it means to wake up. It also just means to be aware of something. If you're awake, alert, you know what's happening, as opposed to being asleep and not aware of what's happening. So nabudhyate in Sanskrit, nabujyati in Pali just means he is unaware, he doesn't realize. So what does he not realize? Sehikamehi, by one's own deeds, or by his own deeds, Tumedho, the unintelligent person, the unwise person, Tapati, suffers Agidadhova, like one burnt by fire. I've done a note on Dummedho. The opposite is Sumedho, which is like our well-known Ajahn Sumedho. And it's got a rather odd etymological history, that the Medha originally meant broth, and then by extension meant the bone marrow, thing that you could make meat broth from. And then it became the bone marrow, by extension of the sacrificial victim, and then by further extension of meaning it came to mean the sacrifice itself. Curiously enough, by yet a further extension of meaning, when it comes at the end of a compound, as in Dummedho, Durmedha, and Sumedha in Pali, Dummedho, Sumedho Durmedha and Sumedha in Sanskrit, Dummedho, Sumedho in Pali. The word comes to mean intelligence. I haven't quite worked out, to my own satisfaction, how it's made that development, but there it is. So anyway, just take it that Durmedho, of low intelligence, opposite of Sumedho. Remember this prefix dur, it's the dush root, as in dukkha. Normally it has the meaning of bad or wrong, but occasionally it has the meaning of lacking something, not possessing it, weak. For example, bala, strength, and in Sanskrit durbala, in Pali dubbala, means lacking in strength, and therefore weak. So Agidadhova, sorry, so the iPad up. Agidadha. Agi means fire. Agidadha, fire burnt, means burnt by fire. Agi, it's the Sanskrit Agni, which then in Pali becomes Agi, means fire. It's actually directly cognate with the Latin word ignis, meaning fire, from which in modern English we have ignite, ignition. And in Sanskrit, the Agi, which just means fire, and also Agni, the fire god. In fact, the very first word of chapter 1, verse 1, line 1 of the Rig Veda is Agnim, Agnimile, I worship Agni, meaning in that sense the fire god. The root dah means to burn. In Sanskrit, the past participle dahta becomes dagdha, that just the h changes to a g. And in Pali we have dardha. So it's the same word, but in Pali it became a retroflexion, dardha, burnt. So dadho va, meaning as if or like, so dadho va, as if burnt. So agni dadho va, as if burnt by fire. Tapati, again I've done a note on this. So agidadhova tapati, He suffers or burns as if scorched or burnt by aggi, by fire. And you see here that I explain the root tap. Incidentally, that root tap is cognate with the Latin word tepid, tepidus. So, but when it's come into English, tepid means kind of like lukewarm, not exactly hot. We'll better tepid water. But originally it meant hot and to burn. In fact, in the Slavonic languages, this tep or tap root still means hot. For example, in Russian, teplый is the word for hot. So the root meaning is to burn, and it's both a transitive and an intransitive verb. Rather like the English word to burn. You can burn something, you can set fire to it, you can burn your hand. Also, something is burning, it is on fire, so it's both a transitive and an intransitive verb. It's the same in Sanskrit. So the form tapati in Pali, tapyate in Sanskrit is slightly ambiguous, because we have the transitive verb, both transitive and intransitive, tapati, to burn. So tapyate could be the passive form of tapati. Tapati, it burns, then taken as a transitive verb, make it into a passive tapyate, which exactly would correspond to the English it is burnt. But separately, it is a class 4 atmanepada verb. So class 4 with the ya there, atmanepada, tapyate. So by coincidence, the class 4 atmanepada form tapyate is in form identical with the passive of the class 1 tapati, tapyate. So when you see tapyate on its own, it's a little bit ambiguous whether it means it is burnt or it suffers pain. Both forms appear, passive tapyate and class 4 apane tapyate in Sanskrit both appear in Pali as tapati. So tapati, that same ambiguity is there. Does it mean suffers pain, or is it a passive thing meaning is burnt? Pain is caused to someone. At the end of the day, it doesn't really make much difference. I just point out the slight grammatical ambiguity there. And that from that same root, by the way, we also have the word tapas. Calls up tapas. So from our root tap. Tapas, originally meaning burning, but by extension meaning, it came to mean austerities, practicing the austerities of the self-mortifying life. So you get, and a person who performs these is a tapasvin, and in Pali it becomes a tapasi or tapasin, is one who performs austerities. And you get, for example, in Pali, it also tapas, of course, becomes tapo. And you have with vana, meaning a wood or a forest, you have the tapovana. Tapasvana becomes tapovana by Santi. The tapovana literally mean the austerity forest, a forest where ascetics will go to practice their austerities. So I'll read it through once more for you. Here we are. Atapapani kammani karambalo nabujhati Sehi kamehi dummedhu agidadhova tappati. Oh, I should point out this papa, meaning anything bad or evil, is both a noun and an adjective. As a noun, it's a neuter, so papam. It's used here as an adjective qualifying kamani, so evil deeds. It could equally have been atta papankaram, doing evil, but here's papani kamani karam. There are several words like that that can be both adjectives and nouns. The words sukha and dukkha equally. Sukha is a noun, a neuter noun, sukham meaning happiness. Dukkha, a neuter noun also, meaning well, dukkha that we know. But both of those words, just like papa, can equally be used as adjectives. For example, jara dukkha. Here we see dukkha in the feminine. Old age is dukkha. Old age is painful, unpleasant. Attapapani. So, okay, we've got that now. I'll read it through again. Attapapani kammani karam balu nabujjati sehi kammehi dummedhu agidadhova tappati. Good, and that's it on this video.